my name is Tekla. I'm going to present on bridging policy and practice for equitable water governance. Well, I'd like to say that my field of study is public administration. During the time of the study, I got a lot of questions from participants that asked me, but are you maybe a water engineer, or are you studying hydrology? Why are you interested in this? But I'd just like to declare that when it comes to water, it's quite important that you understand the governance aspect, because as much as hydrologists, water engineers come up with solutions, who are the people that make the final decisions? These are your politicians, so it's quite important to understand the governance aspect. Right. So the context of the study is, first and foremost, World Health Organization and UNICEF, via their joint monitoring program, reports that about 2.1 billion people still lack safely managed drinking water. So fast-growing urban population also put heavy pressure on water systems. This is now the migration, people usually that migrate from rural areas to urban areas in search of better opportunities. The third point there, as we can see, is that Namibia, in this case, is used as a case study. Some of you might think, but why Namibia? But this is because it is the driest country in SADC, obviously due to its natural climate system, especially the Namib Desert, the cold Benguela Current, and high pressure systems that block rain, which results in a heavy reliance on groundwater as an essential resource that require careful monitoring, sustainable abstractions, and strong M&E systems and policies. So fourthly, weak governance structures also make urban water service less reliable and harder to manage effectively. So the methodology of this study is that it was basically a qualitative case study, and 49 participants from the Namibian Water Corporation, the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water, Land Reforms, and the local municipalities. I took the biggest municipalities, which was the city of Windhoek and the Swakop municipalities in Namibia, and the study only focused on urban water, not rural, all right? And then interviews, focus groups, and document analysis were done. All right, so the key findings there, the first one when it comes to institutional gaps is that policies do exist, but there are weak implementation. The second one is that there are fragmented roles and coordination. In Namibia, the NAMWater, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the municipalities do not plan together. So they make decisions independently. A good example is the municipality will be responsible for distributing water, but NAMWater controls the bulk supply and the pricing, whereas the Ministry of Agriculture usually oversees the policies. Another key finding is that there are bureaucratic delays and leadership instabilities. So a lot of participants, especially from the municipalities, they were saying that most councillors don't understand, because remember, these councillors are elected. Most of them don't have the basic qualification or knowledge when it comes to water. So they are saying that they usually don't understand, and these are the councillors that make decisions within the municipalities. So the municipality came up with a solution to say, maybe we train them, so that they have a basic understanding, which makes it easier for them to make decisions. But just when they train them, and they understand, 5 years comes to an end, and then they are new councillors, and they have to repeat the process, which becomes very frustrating. The second key finding is obviously, as we can see there, monitoring and evaluation is quite weak. There are limited real-time data. Municipalities do not have up-to-date data. Now I'm talking about Namibia, but then also similar issues came up with other developing countries. So there also isn't continuous data collection, and there's also instantly or no instantly accessible information about what is happening in the water system as it happens, unless obviously reported by residents. At the second bullet there, as we can see, there's also inconsistency in policy reviews. Policy reviews are supposed to be done at least every 3 to 5 years, but this is not being done. Most of the councillors and the participants were saying, yeah, the problem is we don't have time to review policies. So most of the policies come way back since during or before independence, when Namibia was still part of South Africa. So those were still not updated. Another issue there was weak monitoring frameworks and performances. I was quite stunned when I was collecting data and I saw people fighting, the councillors fighting at the municipality. So I was quite stunned as they stormed out, so nothing was done. You could see that these people spend more time fighting amongst each other because you are from a specific political party, so they don't actually, or the performance is quite weak, if I may put it in that way. So fourthly, there is minimal community participation. Remember, the people are the ones making use of this urban water, so it's quite important that citizens are also involved when it comes to decision making. The third one is capacity challenges. There's obviously a shortage of skilled staff. Also, the study found that there is a lot of political motivated appointments, maybe favoritism, and there's also lack of training and technical tools, especially old infrastructure as well. The study, when we were collecting data from NamWater, they mentioned that, yeah, well, the water pipes are quite old and it becomes costly to replace them, so we are always repairing them, which is such a costly exercise because, I mean, you'd rather replace the entire thing rather than always fixing. So they are saying that when they planned for the city, they didn't plan the magnitude of more people, so they didn't have that in mind. Another finding was financial barriers, so there's funding gaps, there's also cost recovery challenges, especially in Namibia we use prepaid water, so actually not prepaid water, but there's an absence of prepaid water. So prepaid water is that you always put on credit so that when you are done or when the water is done, then it cuts off. But in Namibia it's like you pay at the end of the month, so you can use as much, and then they give you a bill at the end of the month, where most people don't then honor that bill. So this is why there's cost recovery challenges. Again, tariff inequalities, which affects vulnerable communities. Pricing of NamWater and municipalities is quite high because NamWater sets bulk tariffs while local authorities also set tariffs, so it actually increases the pricing in water and not everyone can afford, especially the pensioners, they are complaining. Then the fifth finding is governance conflicts, so there's also a lot of tension between NamWater and local authorities. Local authorities are saying, but people owe us, citizens owe us, so we are unable to pay NamWater's bill because citizens also owe us, and NamWater is now saying, but we are not then able to then supply water to you guys if you guys owe us. So there's a bit of conflict there. And then municipalities also do not assist one another. I've seen all of them work in isolation. For instance, municipalities like Rundu, which is a town in Namibia, has a river where it can obviously assist to provide water for towns that are closer to them, but that is not done. And then the recommendations here that we have is, first of all, we need to establish structured national monitoring and evaluation frameworks. We need to have real-time data systems. We need to have regular policy review cycles, like I've mentioned. And then it's quite important that they are transparent procurement monitoring to avoid issues of corruption and institutions favoring foreign contractors over local ones. When it comes to institutional reforms, we need to clarify the roles of NAMWATER, Ministry of Agriculture and municipalities, that is specifically for Namibia. We also need to have merit-based leadership appointments. For those elected, we need to say you need to have at least, a level of qualification or for you to get into or for you to be able to be elected. Also, conflict resolution mechanism, especially when it comes to councillors fighting amongst each other. There need to be performance-based evaluations. We also need to replace old infrastructure as per fixing, which is quite expensive in the long run. When it comes to inclusive governance, we need to engage communities in decision-making. We also need to have citizen observatories and feedback loops, such as online feedback, which helps improve, which actually help improve, especially within municipalities. We also need to have integrated local knowledge and innovations. In conclusion, I'd like to say that strong monitoring and evaluation is essential for resilience. Governance reform is also critical for equity, and of course, transformative, inclusive approaches are needed. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to acknowledge the institutions that assisted with the study, that is NAMWATER, Namibian Water Corporation, Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reforms in Namibia, the City of Windhoek, Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, the University of the Western Cape, the Municipality of Swakopmund, and the Namibia University of Science and Technology. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Thank you for keeping to time. Is there questions? I'm sure there are questions. I can't see any hands. So in terms of, if I may just ask a question, in terms of implementation of the recommendations, or what is the way forward? I'm quite keen to understand, because some of the challenges and issues you listed or what we also in South Africa are experiencing, or is there some way forward, in terms of dealing with this specific issue?
Okay, like I said, when it comes to policies should be reviewed constantly. I see, like the case of Namibia, they take quite long, and sometimes they don't even review the policies at all. Like I've said, the study uncovered that most policies since independence were not even reviewed. So that is quite important. Secondly, I believe that councillors, the ones who had municipalities, need to have at least a certain level of education, because I was quite stunned when I was collecting data from a certain municipality and the mayor couldn't even read or write. You understand? So those are just some of it. And also M&Es, like especially within the Namibian municipalities, M&Es are not regularly done. So that is quite important that it's done on a regular basis, amongst others.
Yeah, so it gives us the opportunity to maybe look at local policies and a revision of local policies.
Yes,
I've got a question there, and then I'll come to you for the last.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. My question is on the inclusion. I saw that you actually included the involvement of communities in decision making. But I also wanted to ask if you are also considering involving youth in also participating and understanding how decisions are being made. Thank you.
Yes, of course, youth is quite important, because, but then the thing is, remember, I don't only want to involve the youth, I want to involve everyone, because it's not only the youth that make use of water, right? It's everyone. So I feel like when it comes to decision making, it's quite important that municipalities have community gatherings or whatever, so that they can get innovations or ideas from everyone that is making use of water. It's not only the youth that makes use of water, but everyone else, including the pensioners. You might actually get good ideas from them as well. So it's important that feedback is received from everyone.
Thank you.
I hope I answered.
A last question, this side.
Yes, thank you. Presentation is very interesting, particularly for me as a board member of SADC-GMI. Governance issues are really quite important for us. But the question that I want to ask is, the beneficiaries, the users of water, very often you find they don't understand why they should be paying for water. Why does water cost what it does? So this whole issue of making the beneficiaries aware as part of the monitoring and evaluation, this is quite a difficult one for the authorities to do, to get the users to understand why they should pay and why water actually costs money to deliver.
Yeah, but I think also in Namibia, the issue why water is also a bit expensive, I think it's supposed to be at least a bit cheaper because, like I said, NAM Water puts their own price. They're the ones that supply water in bulk. They put their own tariffs, and then on top of that, the municipalities also put their own tariffs. So it pushes the price a bit higher. So I think really that is something that needs to be looked at also.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's give her a hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.